everybody. In this video, I'm going to show you how to find the payment with a loan formula. So take a deep breath and let's make this math easy. Okay, so let's say that you owe $20,000 in student loans at an interest rate of 3.5%, which is compounded monthly. If you want to pay off your loan in 8 years, what should your monthly payments be? So we know that the loan amount, or the initial amount we're borrowing, which we call P, is $20,000. We know that the interest rate is 0.035 because that's what the percentage is written as a decimal. The fact that it's compounded monthly means K equals 12. And if we want to pay off the loan in 8 years, so T equals 8, we want to know what our monthly payments are, which means we're looking for D. So to find this, I'm going to use the loans formula and plug all of the information that I know into the formula. So I'm going to do 20,000 equals D, which is the thing I'm looking for, times 1 minus 1 plus my interest rate, 0.035, divided by 12 because it's compounded monthly, 8 times 12 because that will be the number of months that it's compounded for, and then divide that whole thing by my monthly interest rate. So to calculate this out, I'm going to first of all do my mini calculations. So 8 times 12 is 96, which means negative 8 times 12 is negative 96. And then I'm going to do my interest rate calculations. So 0.035 divided by 12, that's going to give me 0.0029166666666. And this decimal is also the decimal that this fraction divides out to. So I'm going to take that and add 1 to it. And then I'm going to raise this to my negative exponent of 96. So I'll click my exponent button, do 96, make it negative, figure out what that is. And then I need to do 1 minus this. So I'm going to make this number negative and add 1 to it, because that's the same thing as doing 1 minus that number. And this decimal that I have here is the simplification of everything within this big set of parentheses. And also this negative 96, that looks a little misleading because it looks like it's outside of the parentheses. It should be inside of the parentheses because I used it to replace the negative 8 times 12. So sorry if that was misleading. So once I have that big set of parentheses simplified, then I can take this decimal and divide by the decimal on the bottom of the fraction. So 0.0029166666666, and that gives me this number here. So essentially what I've calculated so far is that 20,000 equals D times this 83.62566.269, etc. And make sure you keep at least 6 decimal places here. And ultimately, I want to find out what D is. So to calculate for D, I need to divide both sides of the equation by this number. So I could do 20,000 and divide by this number that I've written out, or I could just take that number in my calculator and find the reciprocal, because that's going to be 1 divided by the number. And then I could multiply this by 20,000 to figure out what 20,000 divided by the number was. And when I do that, it looks like I get a monthly payment of $239.16. And so this would be the amount that I would pay every month to pay off my student loan within 8 years. So why don't you guys go ahead and try this problem? Figure out what your monthly payments will be if you want to buy a $20,000 car at a 4% interest rate for 5 years. So pause the video and restart it to see how I would solve it. Okay, so on this one, you're going to have 20,000 as your loan amount, so that would be P. And then your interest rate is going to be 0.04, and you're doing it for 5 years, so T equals 5. And because we're looking for monthly payments, we're going to have K equal 12. And we're going to assume that the compounding period is also 12 because you wouldn't be able to use this formula unless that was the case. So even if it doesn't specifically say that it's compounding monthly, if they ask for monthly payments, that means that the interest will be compounded every month. So to calculate this out, let's put it into the formula, and we'll have 20,000 equals D, which is the thing I'm looking for. And then I'm going to do 1 minus 1 plus my interest rate of 0.04 divided by 12, and raise this to an exponent of -5 times 12. And this whole thing is going to be divided by 0.04 divided by 12. So I'll go through and do my little mini calculations first. So -5 times 12 is -60. And then 0.04 divided by 12, that is going to be 0.00333. So I'll put that in there. And that decimal is also this part right here. So I'll take that number and add 1 to it. And that gives me this number. And I need to raise it to an exponent of -60. So I click my exponent button, type in 60, and then make the 60 negative. And then click the equal sign. And that's what this part simplifies to. Now I need to do 1 minus that. So I'm going to make this negative and add 1 to it. And this is all of the stuff in the big set of parentheses. So I'm going to take that number and divide by 0.00333333. And if I knew what D was, I could multiply by D as well. But in this case, I'm trying to find D. So I'll have 20,000 equals D times 54.299069. And again, make sure you keep at least 6 decimal places. And then to figure out what D is, we're going to do 20,000 divided by this number. So you could type that out, or you can take the number that's already in your calculator and do the reciprocal of it, and then multiply by 20,000. And so that ends up telling us that our monthly payment is going to be $368.33. And that's how much money you would need to pay if you're going to buy a $20,000 car with an interest rate of 4% for 5 years. So I hope that video was helpful, and I hope that you guys have a good day.